Yo, what is up, my guys? I hope that you are all enjoying the content on this channel, and I hope that I can continue to produce this content about one video each week. If you want gameplay of one thing or another, one game or another, let me know in the comments down below. I'll try and get around to it. Destiny. Alright, that's what this video is about. So if you're not a Destiny player, well, A, you should be, and B, feel free to leave. There will be other content, don't worry. Destiny is a game that once held many titles and a decent amount of fame. OG Destiny. But then devolved into Destiny 2. A rushed and just okay game. High expectations kind of fell through very shortly after the game came out. And a lot of people left. The community shrunk drastically. Flash forward, we're in the middle of year 3. More and more people are beginning to come back to the game. They're starting to pick it back up. And a lot of new players are beginning to join the community. This is all due to the game becoming free to play. But then Bungie does something that many of us kind of expected. They release the promise of expansions. But not just expansion for year 4. They released the next 3 years of expansions for Destiny 2. Now, what does this exactly mean? Why is this important? What does this entail for the community? Well, first things, that means no Destiny 3, at least not in the near future. It means that Destiny 3 has been scrapped for the time being. Their focus is completely on Destiny 2, not on Destiny 3. And wow, a lot of us weren't exactly ready for as much as they stated. We had an idea that they would tell us what this upcoming year, this upcoming expansion would look like. And then when they promised the next 3 years, to be honest, a lot of us were shocked. And a lot of us still are shocked. Like, oh my goodness, there's another 3 years of this game that, we all love, that we've spent a lot of time playing. But here's the thing. The new expansion, Beyond Light, it drops November 10th. And at the time that I'm recording this video, it's November 3rd. By the time you're watching it, it's probably November 4th. That means you have 6 days. 6 days until Beyond Light is officially here. And while there are guides galore of what you need to go about doing and grinding before Beyond Light hits, and I could go through and give a detailed, very detailed list, even give quest steps and everything. There are other YouTubers that have already beat me to the punch. They already have extremely detailed and thorough guides. So I highly recommend that if you're looking for a specific weapon, that you go and watch their videos on the quest. If in the future you'd like me to make a video on how to get a specific exotic weapon, or how to go about this quest or that quest, any tips or tricks, please let me know down in the comments below, because I would love to do so. But while my list may not be in depth, here's a slight order of things that I think every single Destiny player needs to get around to doing before Beyond Light hits. So here's my brief synopsis of things that you may want to attempt before Beyond Light. The very first thing, and honestly the easiest thing, but yet the most time-consuming thing, is grinding light. Your light level determines your ability to participate in endgame activities. This includes Trials of Osiris. It includes Iron Banner. It also includes raids, dungeons, very high level strikes. All of these things take that light level into account. And if your light level isn't super high come day 1 of Beyond Light, there's a possibility that you're not going to be as prepared as some other players. I myself have grinded to the max cap without artifact of 1060. I have multiple weapons at 1060, and I'm ready, so that way day one I can use whatever weapons fit the missions accordingly. While I'm not doing endgame content day one, endgame content will follow probably within the next week or so, the raid dropping a week after, or 10 days after. Um, it is important for you to sit down and realize that your light level is something you need to work on. And the nice thing is, there's no right or wrong way to go about it. You can literally sit down and do whatever activity you enjoy the most. If you enjoy playing Gambit, play Gambit. No one's going to stop you. But one of the easiest ways, and a little tip, is to go into your character and go to your ghost. Find a ghost, whether it's one in your vault, whether it's one you have on your person. Um, but look on your ghost, and there's a little perk called Guiding Light. If you have Guiding Light, that increases your XP. The second tip that I have for you is to do weekly bounties. At the bare bones minimum, do the weekly bounties, please. Uh, each vendor has their own. There's one for Gambit, one for Crucible, one for Strike. There's two at each. Gunsmith has two. Each place, each planet, their vendor has two as well. So sit down and do those weekly bounties, and then do the daily bounties if you have time. Some of them are super easy. Each day at 1 o'clock when reset happens, I go to the Gunsmith and I pick up all of his bounties, because his bounties are super easy. I play a lot of Crucible. I go and I pick up all the Crucible bounties. Usually by the end of the day, I have all of those bounties easily completed. Now the second thing, and this thing is going to vary for just about anyone. No one's going to have the exact same unless you have probably all of these, but work through the exotics. The second thing that I'm going to tell you to do is exotics. And I'm not talking armor, I'm talking weapons. A lot of exotics are disappearing, and not necessarily they're leaving the game, but they're going to be impossible to get, or you're going to have to pay to get them. Not real money, but in-game currency, or you're going to have to change. The change of quest is going to cause you to have to regrind if you're already halfway through. So, a quick list. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to and look up some of these, or double check and make sure you have them. Last Word, Traveler's Chosen, Izanagi's Burden, Bad Juju, Thorn. All of these primary weapons are found, I think for the most part, each has a piece on one of the planets that is getting taken out, so you're going to need to work through all of them. Ruinous Effigy, Jotun, Le Monarch, Polaris Lance. All of these are the energy weapons that are going to be taken out here in uh, Beyond Light. Jotun and Le Monarch are possibilities. They're questionable currently, but the rest of these are weapons that you need to work through quests currently. For heavy, you have Worldline Zero, Sleeper Simulant, and Legend of Acreus. All three of these weapons are found directly on planets or areas that are disappearing. Legend of Acreus requires you to be on Leviathan, which is sadly going away. And Sleeper and Worldline require to be on Mars. All of these weapons, with them disappearing, all the primary, energy, and heavy of these are going away to some degree. We don't know exactly how the quests will be changed, but know that they will not be the same, so try and finish them up as much as possible. And if you have some extra time on your hands, or you have some of these exotics that you just, want to add to, there's some catalysts that you can get, and there's also some additional weapons that have catalysts. And these catalysts are acquired on activities that are disappearing, whether it's raids or whether it's on planets that we will no longer be able to visit. So the weapons that the catalysts that will be disappearing or will be unable to get until they're been changed is Sleeper Simulant, Legend of Acreus, Bad Juju, Skyburner's Oath, Polaris Lance, Telesto, and Worldline Zero. All of these have a part, whether it's the catalyst is actually achieved from completions, or whether it's you have to kill so many. For Skyburner's Oath, you get it not only from the Leviathan, but you also have to kill 1,000 Cabal to complete it. And while you can do this without the Leviathan, may I say, grinding it on the Leviathan is much easier. Now, what are some recommendations of these exotic weapons and or catalysts that I think you should probably pick up? As for the weapons that I think you need to pick up, I would highly recommend Thorn, Sleeper Simulant, Traveler's Chosen, and Izanagi's Burden. Just 4 weapons. Thorn is a relatively easy quest, just a little bit of grinding. Traveler's Chosen is probably the easiest on here. Sleeper Simulant and Izanagi's Burden both have a decent amount of steps, but work through these weapons at some point, or currently are meta in either in some raids. Thorn has a place in the Crucible, more on PC than on console. However, with this next update, it's highly likely that Thorn will be even better than it has been. And for strikes, Sleeper Simulant and Izanagi's Burden, as well as Traveler's Chosen in some cases, are absolutely amazing. As for the catalysts that I may suggest, I would highly recommend Sleeper Simulant, Bad Juju, and Polaris Lance and Celesta would be a toss-up for my third pick. Sleeper Simulant for sure, and Bad Juju as well. Bad Juju, however, keep in mind, will require a decent amount of Bright Dust to be spent, as well as participation in Crucible, Gambit, and Strikes, as well as multiple raids. Now, moving on to the third thing that I highly recommend, and this not only plays into that grinding light and possibly grinding quests for pinnacle weapons, but is grinding for those pinnacle weapons, but playing the activities that you want to, whether it's Gambit, whether it's Strikes, or whether it is Crucible, and using weapons that are not going to be sunset in that activity. So, for example, your Crucible mains out there, yeah, you know who you are, the ones that only play Crucible and nothing else. I hope that the clips at the beginning of my video did not offend you. I'm sorry. I play a little more than just Crucible. Find out some of the pinnacle weapons that you may have not got, and possibly grind those quests. Some of those quests, fair warning, especially in Crucible, are very, very grindy and require a lot of time and a lot of effort. If you're not willing to, don't worry about it. Find a different one. And if you don't have any that you need to work on, just work on using weapons that won't be sunset. What does that mean? Well, most weapons that are currently in game are going to be sunset and will no longer be able to be infused past the power cap of 1060, which is our current power cap. This next season, our weapons will be able to go up way past 1060 if they are not being sunset. So what does that mean? In game modes like Trials and Iron Banner, your weapons that are 1060 and lower probably aren't going to be as effective. So stop using Mountaintop, stop using Revoker. Instead, maybe replace it with a Truth Teller, maybe with a Supremacy. Just a few suggestions. Move those weapons to the vault. Don't delete them. I wouldn't, at least. I mean, some of those took forever to grind for, and you're telling me you're just gonna, I don't need it anymore. And I know you can reacquire it from collections, but it's just the satisfaction of knowing you did this, at one point. So learn to play with something new, something that's not being sunset. The fourth thing, and this is very important, and if you don't get around to the other three, and even after Beyond Light has launched, this is something that you should do. Clean your vault. We all know that our vaults are cluttered. We've been playing for how many years now? Each person puts how many weapons into their vault on the daily, and whether it's exotics, whether it's armor, whether it's ghosts, or whether it's ships, I don't know, whatever you store in your vault, go through and decide, okay, do I use this? If you don't use it, look, is it being sunset? Okay, I don't use it and it is being sunset, delete it. And if it's not being sunset, maybe hold on to it. If you have 6 of the same weapon, choose 2 of the best roll, and that's it. Move on. Do not play with more, or do not keep more than 6 of the same weapon in your vault, especially if you rarely use them. So really try and clean that vault as much as possible. That's the fourth and final thing I had for you guys. I truly hope that this quick list gives you guys a better idea of what you need to do before Beyond Light launches on November 10th. Prepare for this new expansion, and I hope that you all enjoy the creation of this new destiny, as I truly believe this new expansion is going to change things quite drastically for our community. If you're enjoying the content on this channel, a like rating down below would be greatly appreciated. As for the content of this specific video, this was of a clanmate and myself as our teammate left the very first round as we struggled through a 2v3 in survival. In this match, we're trying to both work towards Luna's house, so that's why I'm using Crimson. I apologize for some of the rough gameplay. To say the least, I was extraordinarily frustrated, and so was my clanmate. Without further ado, thank you guys for watching. Keep an eye out for a video dropping next Wednesday, hopefully on some new content.